If you are planning to see the cherry blossom in Kyoto this Sakura season, then this video is for you.
We're going to give you all tips on the best places to see the cherry blossom, what times to go, how to avoid the crowds. We stayed there last year for a month and it's safe to say we got around it, Jess. We got around that cherry blossom.
Yes, we did. We spent mid-March to mid-April in 2023 in Kyoto, and it was the most beautiful thing we'd ever seen, the cherry blossom. So we just wanted to share all the tips and tricks that we learned along the way and share them with you.
Take it away, let's go.
If you haven't met us before, I'm Jess.
I'm Jay.
And we're a couple from Derbyshire in the UK. We love travel. We spent last year traveling around the world, and Japan is one of our favourite countries. We're going to go in with our top 5 cherry blossom locations. These are just our favourite places that we saw last year.
So number 5 is Maruyama Park.
Maruyama Park is a really huge public park in the centre of Kyoto, next to Shirakawa Shrine in Kyoto. It's a very beautiful, peaceful place to visit anyway. It's got loads of meandering paths around the ponds, there's koi carp, it's very beautiful. But at cherry blossom season, it is extra stunning.
That's when it comes into its own. Cherry blossom season, you're going to see some amazing sights, including a 100-year-old weeping cherry blossom. Yes, I said weeping. You've got to see it with your own eyes to believe it. It's literally the perfect photo op in that whole park.
Yeah, it's very stunning. It's the centerpiece to the park. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's so huge. They even illuminate it at night, so it's beautiful all the day long. Maruyama Park is a very popular place for hanami, which is where locals and tourists alike go and have little picnics and parties in the park just to sit under the cherry blossom trees and relax and take it all in. And so it's a very busy area, especially in the evening.
So a tip for going to Maruyama Park would be get there early. We got there, it was like, I think it was about it wasn't too early, it was about 8:30 in the morning. We caught the bus from our hotel, which wasn't far, and the place was empty. There was literally like us and 20 other people in the whole park. So we had all the cherry blossom to ourselves, and there were even lots of cats walking around.
I was just going to say, it was empty except for several cats.
Yes.
Resident cats that were just sat underneath the petals.
Just chilling.
It was very cute.
Just chilling.
So that was a really peaceful time to go. We had
Yeah.
the place to ourselves practically. There were lots of people taking photos, but it wasn't busy. But we did return in the evening.
Yeah.
Around the park and the shrine, they have a lot of food stalls, and it got really, really busy. We basically shuffled our way in line around all the food stalls.
You were walking like that.
Yeah, it was very, very busy, and rightly so. A lot of these places are very popular because they're so beautiful. So yeah, if you want to avoid the crowds, we recommend going early.
Go before the food stalls open. I believe the food stalls open mid-morning. So if you go early morning, you'll still be there for when the food stalls open, so you're getting the best of both worlds there.
Number 4 is Shirakawa Lane. So Shirakawa Lane is a very popular street in Kyoto. It is widely renowned as the most beautiful street in Kyoto, possibly the world.
I'll vouch for that, yeah.
It's very popular because it is lined with traditional Japanese merchant houses. It's got a little river running down it. And of course, it's full of cherry blossom trees, and they overhang over the river, and it's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful street, and a lot of geishas are entertaining around there in the evening. If you glance through the windows, you can sometimes see geishas entertaining their guests. It's a very magical place to visit any time of the year, but at cherry blossom season, it is extra beautiful.
We actually saw a geisha at Shirakawa Lane. And she came, we heard her first, didn't we? Like with the wooden shoes on the floor. And everybody was like, what's that nice, what's that nice? Chances are you will see a geisha going from appointment to appointment.
Very lucky to see if you see a geisha, definitely. This number 4 is kind of like a 3-in-1 because a road off of Shirakawa Lane is called Yamato Bashi Bridge. And this is just a road off of Shirakawa Lane, and it is lined with cherry blossom trees on both sides. It is really, really stunning. It's just a narrow little street. It's kind of nondescript. I don't think there's anything else of note on it really, but there were a lot of people having professional photos done in this area. And because they're just on both sides, it just kind of, it's just magical to walk through.
It's as good as it gets for a photo opportunity, basically.
Yeah, and I just thought I'd mention it because it's so close to Shirakawa Lane as well.
Also, if when you're travelling, you want to have a little meal, Shirakawa Lane, right at the top, there's a restaurant called Gion Tanto. Now, the unique thing about this restaurant, it's situated in perhaps the most photographed spot on Shirakawa Lane, right on the corner where the river meets the path. So if you manage to get a spot in this restaurant, we went, didn't we? And we went twice. We went twice in 2 days.
Is that good?
Twice in 2 days. We were queuing each time for over an hour.
Yes.
There was a queue.
That's the downside.
The silver lining for this queue, though, you're looking at all the cherry blossom.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got geishas coming past. It's crazy. Get in the queue. It's not like a queue. It's just, get your camera out. So once you're in, they serve traditional Japanese dish, okonomiyaki. They serve vegan options, meat options, you name it, they've got it. You've got a teppan grill in front of you. It's absolutely delicious. And we were really lucky when we went in like a window seat, the only window seat in the restaurant.
Yeah.
You could ask for it at cherry blossom season. We look to our right, and you've got basically all of the cherry blossom lining and hundreds of people taking photos.
Yeah, you just sat in the most perfect place to overlook the river, to overlook the bridge that goes over the river, and there's all the cherry blossom. It was such a magical moment, hence why we went back again. Despite the hour queue, it was it's definitely a good place and has a vegan menu, so it ticks a lot of boxes for us. So we would definitely recommend to try and avoid the queue, to go at opening times.
Yeah.
When we went, I think it opened around 6 in the evening.
Yes. There was always a queue there when we got there, however.
Yeah, just try and get there a little bit before 6, just to try and
Yeah.
get ahead of the queue and maybe request that table. Our number 3 spot for viewing the cherry blossom is Kyoto Incline. Kyoto Incline is a disused cargo railway track, and in recent years it's become a very popular spot for cherry blossom viewing with tourists and locals alike. The cherry blossoms line the railway track, so you can just walk down, take it all in. It's just incredible how many cherry blossom trees there are along this railway road. It is so beautiful, and you can even see the mountains behind. If you walk all the way to the top and turn around, you can look into Kyoto with the mountains behind floating on cherry blossom. It is very beautiful.
It is absolutely breathtaking just looking at it. Jess showed me a picture before we actually went of it, and I was just like, we've got to go here. Surely this place doesn't exist. It's that beautiful. Can't exist, but it does exist. It was the most in bloom cherry blossom when we went, I think.
I think we timed it just right for this one,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah.
Major tip for Kyoto Incline though, you've got to beat the crowds. If you don't want to be there with at least 100 other people, you've got to go before 6 a.m. That would be my advice. We got there at 6. I think it was like 6:27. And there was about, at least 100 people, even more, along the track. So we were like, we got here early and there's still hundreds of people here.
Yeah, you can see why it's so popular and why people get there so early. We got there as early as we possibly could with the transport, but we were staying quite far away. So it just depends how close you are, if you could get there any earlier to just avoid that first surge of crowd. It was still a wonderful visit regardless. So our number 2 spot goes to Hanano Shrine. This is a beautiful little shrine, and we were lucky enough to be staying just 10 minutes away from it. Coincidentally, I'm so glad we were, because this meant it was one of our first stops of the day. We got there really early, and it was absolutely stunning. Upon researching it, we found out that this particular shrine has been hosting a cherry blossom festival since the year 985.
Wow.
So it's the longest running festival in Kyoto today. There are said to be 500 different trees, and they are 60 different species of cherry blossom. So
What?
that's just like
I didn't even
crazy
know there were that
amount.
many.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Sakura, go to Hanano Shrine, because you're going to see the cherry blossom of your choice.
Yeah, you can see them all.
We didn't know it existed, and just having a walk around the neighbourhood, we saw it, and we went there like 3 times.
Yeah, we kept going back because it was just so
At all different stages. We went when cherry blossom was in full bloom, and then literally 7 days later, we'll put the comparisons on, we went and the cherry blossom was fading already. So we managed to go at the perfect time, didn't we?
Yeah, we'll just put some images on. I think that
Yeah.
just shows you how short the cherry blossom season is,
Yeah.
and that is why people get so excited to see them in full bloom. However, so the first time we went very, very early, 6 in the morning.
Sunrise.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning. It was quiet. We got to see the shrine, the Torii Gate against the cherry blossom in full bloom. One of the best things I've ever seen with my own eyeballs. And at that time, we didn't even realise that there was a whole extra section that is closed off. And that didn't open till later in the day. So 7 days later, when we returned, we were like, there's this whole extra section full of cherry blossom trees. I think we did have to pay to get into that bit. It wasn't very
much.
expensive.
Wasn't much.
Just a few $100.
Yeah.
And inside of that section, they've got benches to sit on under the trees. You can get a drink, you can get snacks. Even though it was a little bit later, I think because of the range of cherry blossom that they have in there, the different species, so they all bloom at different times. It was just magical, genuinely magical. And I even saved, I think we both did,
a petal.
We saved a petal.
Was it the one that went in my beer when I had a sip of beer? I had a sip of beer and I got a cherry blossom. It's that beautiful and serene. The cherry blossoms falling around you. So I didn't see it. A petal had fell in my beer, and that's what I drank. So it could be that. It could be that petal.
Yeah.
How romantic, eh? How romantic. But it is a really lovely place. So we put that at number 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit off the beaten track, and it is mostly locals there. A lot of tourists. I think it is just a little bit far out of a lot of the major shrines. Our number 1 spot, our absolute favourite cherry blossom viewing spot is the Philosophers
Path. Woo!
Yay!
Number 1, baby, yeah!
Yeah, the number 1 spot goes to the Philosophers Path. This was a bit of a dark horse. I did not expect to love this as much as I did when we got there. The most stunning place I've ever seen. So Philosopher's Path is about a half an hour walk, 2-kilometer walk down by a canal. A Japanese philosopher used to walk along this path and meditate, and it was his route to Kyoto University. That is where it got its name. It's just a really pleasant walk. Again, any time of the year. It's a little stone path down a beautiful canal, and the cherry blossom, it like arches all the way over it. There are so many trees, it's perfectly lined. You can just have a little wander along, really soak it in. And I think because it's a longer distance, it definitely didn't feel as busy. There were definitely little pockets of area where there wouldn't be as many people around.
Time to go. We went straight after we went to Kyoto Incline, so we got there around 7 a.m, around 7:30. And it was perfect. They were the odd person walking up and down it. Obviously, it will get busier as the day goes on. Mm-hmm. So again, this is another place. Go very early, and you'll get the most out of it.
Yeah, and also, so we walked all the way along it, and we have actually Google mapped, pinpointed the perfect spot where we got some really beautiful photographs where the cherry blossoms were extra thick. There were loads really concentrated in one area. And again, it was so quiet.
There was no one there.
It was so stunning. The lighting, it was all genuinely so magical. And I mean, all of these locations kind of feel like a film. It feels so beautiful. So yeah, I think that was our favourite location.
Definitely. Number 1. You heard it here. Number 1, Philosopher's Path. Go, get your walking boots on, get your camera ready, and away you go.
Another good thing about the Philosopher's Path is that you compare it with other shrines as well. There are quite a few shrines in that area. It starts at the Silver Pavilion, and there's lots of other stop-offs you can do to tie it in to other visits if your time in Kyoto is shorter and you want to try and do as much as you can. I think it's a really good way to tie that in to other places you want to visit. So in our video, I think we've got 2 videos that include the Philosopher's Path, and we'll link them below so that you can plan your day and see what other places we visited whilst we were there, so you can make the most out of your time. I think it can be very overwhelming in cherry blossom season because it is such a short amount of time and you want to see all the best places. At least I know I did. I had a big long list that I wanted to check off. So we just wanted to share the ones that we thought were definitely worth visiting
Yeah.
and that we had the best experience at, and hopefully you can tie it in to your trip.
Yeah, because we were very overwhelmed. We were going to shrines for cherry blossom and they weren't blooming for another 3 weeks, so we were just basically looking at trees with no leaves on, basically. So we did make our fair share of mistakes, but when we got it right, it was amazing.
So an honourable mention, I just wanted to mention Arashiyama, which is a beautiful area of Kyoto, the famous bamboo grove there. There's also a wonderful garden.
The garden is called Akochi Sanso.
In Arashiyama, there is the famous Sagano Romantic Train. This is a 25-minute route and it goes along through the beautiful scenery, and you can also see some cherry blossoms along this route. We've got a whole video on this. We give our honest review, but that is
the video may be called Train Ride from Hell.
Oh, yeah.
Just watch it and you get what we meant, okay?
Yeah, it's mixed thoughts on that one. Also, just another quick note, just check to see if there's a geisha show on while you are in Kyoto. There tends to be one around Sakura season. We went to the Kia Odori Theatre and Dance by geishas, and it was wonderful. It was one of the best things that we saw whilst we were in Japan, and it ties into cherry blossom season, so I'll leave a link below to help you see if there's one on while you are there on your trip. 5 tips of how to make the most of the time you have for cherry blossom viewing. So tip number 1 is check the forecast. So in Japan they have a cherry blossom blooming forecast. If you just Google it, it should come up.
It tells you how in bloom the cherry blossom is, how many days left of the bloom, at what stage the bloom's coming. I can keep saying bloom, but you get the picture.
It's very in-depth and very helpful if you're trying to plan the trip and what days you want to be where while you're in Japan.
My favourite tip, and the one that I feel you're going to get the most out of, get there early. As early as you can, get the first train, because the earlier you get there, the crowds, they're not going to be there. Or in Kyoto Incline's case, there'll only be about 100 people there.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to get up early on your holiday. Well, it is for me personally anyway. But honestly, the payoff is so worth it. You get to see these places practically empty. You can really beat the crowds if you get there early and pack in as many shrines as you can in the early part of the day. Tip number 3 is to also visit some locations in the evening. Certain shrines and locations have illuminations. We went to a few of them. We've got a video on Nijo Castle illuminations, and they're just another beautiful way to experience the cherry blossom. A lot of them have projection mapping and all this beautiful artwork, and they light up all the cherry blossoms so you can enjoy them in the evening as well.
Also, 7-Eleven, Lawson, Family Mart, they're your best friends when you're making these excursions, because you're never far away from one. And obviously, if you're doing a day of cherry blossom hunting, you're going to need to fuel up, aren't you? So they've got your snacks, your onigiri, your drinks. Get fueled up, fill your rucksack up, away you go.
Obviously, it's a very busy time in Kyoto, so a lot of the restaurants, they can be full. Sometimes you have to book ahead. If there's places that you've definitely got in your mind where you want to eat, try and book if you can. But otherwise, yeah, definitely good to fall back on 7-Eleven. Starbucks saved our lives more than once on this trip. You know, they're always there. You can always get a snack or something to keep you going throughout the day.
I know we're naming the franchises, but you know, sometimes they're there when you need them.
Another tip is transportation. Just before your day, just plan what transportation you're going to use. In Kyoto, it is mostly buses that go to a lot of the locations. There is an underground train system that is also very good, but the buses are what we mostly use. Kyoto is very sprawling. I think that's something I didn't really realise until we went. So you can be travelling up to an hour between certain big tourist destinations. So try and just plan ahead that you don't have to do a big travel. Do a few locations that you want to do that are closer together so that you're not spending most of your day on the bus. That's just another tip that we definitely learned the hard way. So I think that's everything.
Wow.
I think that's everything.
That was a quick one.
So we hope this has helped you plan your trip in Kyoto in some way. If you've got any questions at all, feel free to leave them below and we will answer them for you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. It really helps other people find us.
Happy cherry blossom hunting.
We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
See ya.